Good morning, everybody. This is Martin John, and I'm presenting Tao of the Day. That's right. This is Tao of the Day. This is Jeopardy. Um, Sipping a little kombucha as I begin. So Tao of the Day is a program that I've been producing for quite some time, probably just about a year. It might be a year exactly. Um, since I started doing Tao of the Day. It's right around there. I think it was the 12th to the 11th that I actually did my first show entitled Tao of the Day. So I've been doing this for about a year. And what it is I ask you to pick a number between 1 and 81, and then I will read for you that verse of the Tao Te Ching. The Tao Te Ching is an ancient text written about 600 BCE. It's around the same time that scholars believe that the Old Testament was written, and the whole point here is that it is an ancient text. Why is an ancient text important to us today in modern times? Well, you may have noticed that we're moving out of this world of logic and this world of greed and the world. Like, I know it seems like the world is greedy and the world is doing all of the things that it does, but what we're actually doing is we're moving out of the stage because everything is so accessible now. The whole world of logic is really just at our fingertips, and we can live in this space very easily. But what we're going to have to do is kind of get back in touch with some of the old ways. Dr. Rao's on here talking about ancient hacks to be able to live in a modern world, and I talk about the Tao, and he talks about Brahman, and so much of the same stuff is spoken about. And on here, we talk about how you can live a better life, like all sorts of places on in the world right now, and some of the concepts that are being brought up here on wisdom are all about how you can be more in touch with yourself, because the logic world, the world of the mind, the world of the frontal lobe, the what's it called? It is called the what is it called? I'm forgetting the executive function. Like we've gone as far as we can with executive function, especially when we are not in balance. And getting in balance means getting in balance with the brains that you have access to. You have your head brain, and that's been getting a lot of attention over the last millennia, over the last number of millennia. Three. So 3,000 years is around the same time that these things were written, a little less, but even still. So the last 3,000 years or so, the frontal lobe has been getting a lot of attention, and we've been moving in the direction of the frontal lobe, right? Like, let's understand life, and let's compartmentalize it, and let's put it in a box and live our life so life is easy and there's no challenges, right? And there's no difficulty, right? We want to be happy and not sad, and we want to choose these things that make our life easier. And although that's like comfortable, right? Like, we love comfort, we so love comfort, and yet that's not the answer. Like, comfortable, like not having anything to complain about isn't comfortable, right? Like complaining about things and thinking that there are things to complain about is what causes discomfort. And once we move towards the space of the frontal lobe and the space of the executive function and stuff, we want to solve all those problems. But before that came online, there were no problems. We created those problems because we had desires that we wanted to. We wanted things to be easier. It's like we didn't want to. Um, we didn't want to go about life and have it be difficult. My computer's been crashing all morning, so I'm stalling for time as it reloads. Uh, and then I'll pull up the Dow in a moment, and we'll see. Maybe this is it. Maybe I'm gonna have to get myself a new computer soon. Um, so it'd probably be a good idea to back this up and move on. Let's see if I can get through Dow of the Day without another crash. It's just reloading right now. we'll see if we can pull it up. I didn't move it. I didn't touch it. It just crashed on its own. I thought it was a hardware issue, but it looks like things are getting a little hairy for me. So we might have to go ahead and get a new computer this week. But in the meantime, I'm pulling up the Dow. I'm going to pick a number, and if you have a number between 1 and 81 you'd like to hear, come on up. If my computer crashes again, I can't control that. It's not what you can see. Is I'm going to read number 32. It's not what you can see. It is not what you can see. Number 32 of the Tao Te Ching. So subtle is Tao, it has never been seen, and yet nothing can be seen. Nothing that can be seen is without it. When beings can remain centered in Tao, all that they perceive is in harmony. As that harmony inspires actions, those actions will have names. Know that those names are provisional. If those actions inspire institutions to form, know where their reach should end. Inspired action, although they may have names, those names needn't be taken too seriously. Tao is behind it all, even if you cannot see it. Okay, so this one is about, hey, what you do is cool, and if you want to talk about what you do, and if you want to describe what you do, that's cool too, but don't identify with it so much. Nope, my computer just crashed again. Because if you identify with those things, if you identify with that which you think you're doing, then you're taking away from the act of doing it. Like when you say, I know why I'm doing this, and it's actually coming from Tao, well, then you're diminishing like your connection and you are identifying with the action. And in order to do that, in order to my computer's back online, we'll see if we can open this up. I am not touching my computer at all. Like I don't know why it's crashing so much this morning. It was not doing this yesterday, so I think it was 31, maybe it was 32. It's not what you can see. So when you say something, I was talking to Andy the other day about this idea that like if I were to express that, oh, I'm feeling sad, and I say I know I'm feeling sad because of something, right? I identify with that sadness. So subtle is Tao; it has never been seen, yet nothing that can be seen is without it. So everything that we see has Tao in it, from the onions I'm looking at to my computer and everything, and it all has Tao in it. And I don't have to say it is like it is doing the thing because of something. I can just allow it to do its thing. Just like for me, if I say, oh, I'm sad, I don't have to say I'm sad because. Now I can, you know, I can say I'm sad because. But if I allow myself to identify solely with the reason I think I'm sad, well, then that leads me to believe that that's right. And maybe it is for a, a bit, maybe it is a bit correct, but it's not going to be totally correct. And that's an important thing to recognize. It's important to recognize that just because you can identify something that's making you sad or making you happy or making you angry or whatever it is, like just because you can identify one of those things, that doesn't mean that that is the end all be all of your sadness. That doesn't necessarily mean that when that is gone, your sadness, or when that is there, or if it's gone and you want it there, or if it's there and you want it gone, once those things have taken place, that you are going to gain your happiness back, right? Like, because this is where these later lines, as that harmony, what harmony? Okay, well, so subtle is Tao, it has never been seen. You haven't seen Tao. You've never seen it. It's kind of like God, right? You can't see this thing. And yet nothing that can be seen is without it. So everything that you're looking at has Tao in it. When beings can remain centered in Tao, in that which you cannot see, but is connected to all things, all that they perceive is in harmony. So when you perceive the world, like even the crashing of my computer is in harmony. It's not something that's frustrating. It's just like, oh, this is what it is, and maybe it's time to get a new computer. Okay, then I'll do that. As that harmony inspires actions, like actions like getting a new computer, those actions will have names. Getting a new computer, right? Like, so that has a name, that has a, that, like, I would say, well, I am going to get a new computer because of this and that, whatever. Know that those names are provisional. Anything that I put on the other side of because of this or because of that, I am going to like I have to recognize that those are provisional. That's not the end all be all of everything. Andy's actually going to join me. She just came up.
Hi, handsome.
Hey, how you doing? I'm
I'm
Hey. How are you?
good.
Good.
Uh,
My computer's been crashing all morning. We'll see. We'll
yeah,
see how.
I heard that. What's going on? It's not moving.
No, it's not moving. So like it's new, and it might crash again. I don't know. I was thinking a little bit ago that I probably like I don't know, half hour ago, that I should start looking. Anyway, so yeah, so that's going on. No big deal.
I'm sorry.
No, yeah, and like that's interesting because I'm reading this. It's not what you can see, right? So it's not like this is 32.
I was listening to you talk about 32, and it's very congruent with, like, I heard you say about how you talked about the because, like, if you're
Yeah,
sad, and I was listening to you talk about it, and it's always interesting how I hear it differently based on the level of attachment that I'm allowing myself to have in the moment. And if I'm very attached, then I'm angry at hearing this whole thing.
yeah,
And when I'm not attached, I'm like, oh, it really does seem a lot like codependency to ascribe a reason for why I'm having this emotion.
right.
Like it and it's yeah, so it was interesting to hear it because I'm not in a tangled up place this morning. So it was interesting to hear it with it, and I'm like, oh wow, this is really beautiful. This awareness is just so far out.
Yeah, far out. And that just allows us to be here and kind of with whatever it is at this moment, right? Like it doesn't like if if I look at my computer just like I did, and I was just like, oh, I think it's this, and then I try and solve that, and then I go into the I go all the way into the trying to solve this problem, and it's like, oh well, I thought I solved it, and now I'm not moving my computer, I'm not doing anything, and it's just crashing on its own, and it's like, oh, okay, well, now I don't have to like now I don't have to search anymore. Now it's just like, oh, okay, well, I don't have to prescribe a reason. It's just this is what it's doing.
It's doing that. Yeah.
It's yeah,
And it's
and
interesting that it's just this idea, like, oh, you were talking about Tao and how we as humans want to say, oh, it's this, oh, it's that. I want to solve the problem. I want to fix. We're just little fixers. Like, you didn't say this, but I'm saying this part. We're
yeah,
just little fixers going along, trying to clean up alter and shift and change and fit the world into the way that we want it to look. And yet the universe, Tao, Brahman, whatever you want to say, it just wants us to surrender. Like, maybe,
right,
Martin, it's time for you to get a new computer, and maybe this is the time. And Dow's like, nope, you're gonna do it. And
yeah,
I'm just gonna keep fucking with this until you do
right,
it.
yeah. And any why that I attach to it, why the computer is this way, or anytime I like if I was drawn to try and bring this over to like the Geek Squad or something, then I would do that. But I'm not drawn to do that. And I wasn't drawn to do that even before. I did open my computer up and I thought I kind of fixed some problems, and obviously not. Um, but I like doing that, right? I am drawn to like open it up, see if I can fix it myself. And if not, then like this becomes this goes the way of the dodo or whatever.
Mhm.
Um and then, that's interesting because if those actions inspire, well, as that harmony inspires actions, those actions will have names. those know that those names are provisional. So those names are also those things, those whys. Those why is this
Mhm.
happening? And then we compartmentalize and put all this stuff into boxes. Like this is what this is, rather than kind of being like, oh, look at that. And just being curious about it happening.
I want to, can I just, I
Yeah.
had a conversation yesterday. I was recording the podcast with someone I told you about. She and I were talking about an experience I had in my group where I did an exercise with the group, where they could anchor to a memory to invoke an emotion that they wanted to feel. And all but two of them did this and did it the way that the exercise was meant to be done. And the two that didn't were kind of looking around and trying to see if they were doing it right, air quotes, right. And at the end of the exercise, everybody got the experience that they were meant to have. The people that did the anchoring anchored and got that experience, and the people that were looking around got to observe themselves as people who have a tendency to do that sort of thing, and they got to have that observation. So it was like everybody just, there was no like, there was no, it just was happening. It was just
Yeah.
happening on its own. And there was no, like, in terms of like the labeling, like, I want to say that this is this, or this is that, or this is because of this, or we do this for this, or it all just was as it was. And everybody had, we're just here.
Yeah, and I think that that really speaks well to this idea that those actions will have names, right? Like you have this name of exercise, and you have
Hmm.
this idea of what is supposed to be gotten out of it. Not you
Hmm.
personally, but you as the person receiving the exercise and receiving like the instructions. And that's the
Hmm.
thing. Like when we put instructions and when we say this is the result that you should receive, right? Like
Hmm.
then all of a sudden we're like, I'm doing it wrong. Like not
Hmm.
not I, but like, like when we go into an experience, I will be like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to get out of it. And if I'm convinced that that is right, then I judge myself against that rightness. We say, well, I got this. I see this
Hmm.
happening with people in the corporate world a lot when they go through different like coaching programs. They're like, I know all of the things. I know what to say. I know how to get people there, and they have these great experiences, and I get all of this. But during all of that, even though they're doing all of that, like are the experience that they're having is still like self-doubt, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, are you able to then look at that rather than say I'm successful, because the only reason that you would want to express your success is because you have doubt.
That's true.
Like you, if you didn't have doubt, you would have no desire to express your success. You'd just be like,
Hmm.
yeah, no, it is what it is, and you're just doing it. But as soon as doubt kind of gets formed, it's like I got to prove to myself that I don't have that. And that's the thing. Like when we get into this idea of what is the name here, the
Right.
name is just the definition. It's the thing that we define that it's supposed to be.
Hmm.
But those are provisional.
Hmm.
And then like this continues on. If those actions inspire institutions to form, know where their reach should end. And I like that. Like that's all about religion, and that's all about like not only the
My first
economic.
thought was AA. and, I, and
Oh
I never
yeah,
and I
AA as
never even
well.
went to AA, but I think that, like, from what I hear everybody, like, not everybody, but many people in my orbit talk about, I'm like, oh, that sounds like AA. Like AA forms. And then yeah, like, in terms of like, where does that end? Like, do we just go with this forever? No, this was like a jumping off point for people. Like, okay, you got a little bit of structure, a little bit of community, and now, and there's only so far that can go. That's like, that's not the end all be all, that's just something.
Yeah, as I speak, like as I read through this, as I kind of go over it again, like, as harmony inspires actions, those actions will have names. Maybe that action is sobriety. Know that those names are provisional.
Hmm.
You know, sobriety is a provisional thing. If those actions inspire institutions to form, like AA, know where their reach should end. Inspired
Well,
actions, although they may have names, those names needn't be taken too seriously.
mm. And I think it fits really well in like the sobriety context because I've heard you talk about it before, and I've certainly talked about it. The assuming it of your sole identity, then and you're all over your social media. This is who I am now, and it's like, well, no,
Right.
you
I mean, I
know,
even, yeah,
no.
I mean, we see people just trying to, just once again, like put it in a box, put it
Put
in
it in a
some
box. That's because that's
understandable box.
the human brain understands things in boxes, and like I always admire, you because you're so much more fluid and open, and I fight the rigidity of boxes. Like well, you know me. I mean, I'm a compartmentalizing, sweeping generalization, like social scientist, and even in the saying that, I'm putting the I am right.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm in the box before I even talk about the box. I'm
Right.
in the box, and it just makes it so easy for so many of us to understand, but it's like it's complete limitation
Yeah,
in
yeah.
all ways, and we're fluid moment to moment, and then we're like, but wait, I'm in the box.
Now, like I do think that, like the box is the masculine, right? The box is the
Yeah.
structure
Hmm.
that allows us to experience the whole. And I think that, as we look at developmentally, like, consciousness, before we had access to the frontal lobe, millennia ago, like, things were just just too fluid,
Mm.
and there was just a need to be able to say, okay, we can't be we can't be doing this over and over and over and over again, right? Like every day is a new day. Like if you really lived in a space where every day was a new day, once a frontal lobe starts to come online, that's going to get frustrating really quick.
Hmm.
And I think that that's really the need that came in. And then now what's frustrating is having to be compartmentalized in every aspect of your life, right? Compartmentalized and put into a box, and like, and understand everything. And now, because we got so good at solving problems, we just started creating new problems.
Yeah. And that's like the endless pursuit of more, like more knowledge, more knowledge, more knowledge, more this, more that, more. And it's like almost to the point of I see like the advertisements in the subway, and there's just new software being advertised at every moment for more convenience. And it's like, Jesus, how much more convenience can we topple on top of the convenience?
Right.
It's like things got to a point where you how much more can you even improve them, and yet we're
Right.
dissatisfied. Like, you can't improve an iPhone much more than an iPhone is now. Like an airplane, you how much more can you improve an airplane? Like, we pretty much got the science down, but we feel the need to really, no, it's got to be better, there's got to be a way. And it's like,
Right.
now we're kind of tapped out. The 737 is pretty good. I don't think it's going to get much better than the 737, you know?
And now people want to just be able to, like, I'm sure it's not the airplane they want to improve, but travel. So they want to, do the whole like beaming thing, right? Like that's what people will be working on. And then we run into the consciousness problem, right? And then we run into all of these bigger questions of like, oh, something fucked up, and now we have two Andys. We're gonna, Andy transported to New York, and her consciousness is there. And we're gonna, oh, but she didn't actually leave New York. She's in Chicago now. So we're gonna go in and we're gonna kill the New York Andy
Then we
because we
got the
can't have
ethics
two.
conversation, right? Like,
Yeah.
and like, when does it stop? Like, when
Right.
does it? And this is not down number 80, but like about like the simplest. But I always remember number 80 from Stephen Mitchell. I don't know what yours sounds like, but it's just about like people people being content to die of old age in their land, cooking their, enjoying their food, labor of their hands. Like, just when is that enough, and will it ever be enough again?
Right. Yeah. I'll read my 80. Um,
I only have a minute.
I know. Well, you can come back up if you can.
I'll jump up to finish it.
Okay. Any state wishing to align with Tao remains small. Too many people bring about too many options and opinions. In a small state, its inhabitants are skilled and wise. However, there is never a need to put their skill on display. They will be happy to humbly use their skills and work together. They never dwell on anything too long. The next thing to do is always making itself known. They love their surroundings, so have no desire to travel. Although they have a few trucks and boats, none are inspired to use them. They love their lives and their simple food. They make their own clothes, spend time in their gardens while speaking to neighbors. They take the greatest pleasure in being with family. Even though there is a bus to the city that travels through every week, everyone here will be content without ever having made the trip. And so we'll bring Andy back up. That's a longer one. Um, but yeah,
I just,
that's what 80 states.
you did a great job. I love it. I thought it was great. It just fit really well, I thought, with that the idea of the travel. Like, let's improve travel. Let's, and like just all of that we were talking about in what, 32 we were doing, right?
Yeah, yep, yep.
32.
Yeah,
I'm
32.
just, I appreciate you reading that. I don't know if, I don't want to tie up too much time on your stage.
No, no, no. There's no one in line, so I'm just here exploring this, and my computer hasn't crashed, so there it is.
No, I'm bringing
uh,
that good computer energy.
yeah, you know, and this one wraps up. This 32 wraps up with this. You know, like even though so if those actions, like know that those names are provisional, the names that the boxes we put in. So if we're as that harmony inspires actions, those actions will have names. Know that those names are provisional. So as our harmony with all things inspires us to put things into boxes, right? Like that, and I say, oh, that is this thing. Like we have to know that those are provisional. And if those, like, just like sobriety, and if those actions inspire institutions to form, know where their reach should end. Inspired action, although they may have names, those names needn't be taken too seriously. You know, we don't like, and that's the thing. I try and kind of bring people to that place of like, you know, sobriety is just a beverage choice. It's not that serious. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
good for you. Like I'm really happy, you know, that you're sober, you know, and I'm happy that I'm sober and all of those things. But I can't take that too seriously because life is the thing that's like ours, and it's like anything less than all of it is just limiting ourselves.
I so agree. I quote you at that all the time.
You know, and then here it's Tao is behind it all, even if you cannot see it. Tao is behind, you know, the sobriety. Tao is behind the choice for not drinking anymore, for
Hmm.
making a different beverage choice. Tao is behind, you know, all of it. And, you know, we like to be in that space of like, oh, this is my choice. This is me, you know.
Yeah, we think about it in the human context, and I I read something once. I don't remember where, and it was about waking up and being awake, and that if you are, it was all pre-designed anyway. Like before you I don't know if it was like pre-karmic buffet or what, but like it was your soul's journey to be awoken. Like, so if you're sober, it was, that was not your choice. That was just that part of it. It was just part of whatever the greater lesson is for this particular speck of consciousness in this particular time. And that's just it. Like, so there's not too much stake in, oh, I am this, I am sober, I am a Democrat, I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a an activist. It's like it's all it's just, you're just here. Like, this is just it.
Yeah, yeah, you know, and that's always you know, like that idea of free will. You know, we do have free will. How and all that, we can choose to elect misery. We can choose to elect to continue to use or drink or whatever. That's your lesson. Like, and you know that when you don't learn your lesson, you just get it again
And again.
and again. And that's the thing. Like when I talk about pre-karmic buffet, like you chose to take certain courses in your
Yeah.
life. You chose to have certain courses on your plate. And those courses are going to be on your plate until you finish them. And that may take, a million lifetimes.
Hmm.
But in this lifetime, you have free will, what courses you want to, but when you have a plate that's full of one thing, like you got to go through that. And when you go through that, like when you really go through it, and it's not about being done, because maybe you're not done, but you might have different aspects of that meal, come up in different ways. But it's really about you learning a thing. Maybe you think, like you're learning how to be, or how to deal with codependency or whatever, but then like and then you learn along the line that, oh wait, it's not codependency that I'm learning to deal with, it's loving myself,
Yeah.
like it's and then so it comes up in these different ways,
Hmm.
and you do have free will to just elect to not do that, but you have chosen to, and we are here in a time, with consciousness, that it's easier to accept the course. I think people are
I
accepting
agree.
to take that course
And
now rather
people
than put it off.
will see the themes, like the different themes that pop up. And that's why, like, when we like going back to sobriety and the label of it, I just felt about it when that happened, that event, that choice, that whatever, if even if it wasn't a choice, I always felt that my drinking was just, oh, I used that to not participate in learning my lessons.
Right.
I was happily asleep, and then I became not so happy, and I decided I was going to stop this delaying of learning. And then I just put that down and decided, okay, I'll walk the path. Like, and that's why that event itself was like, oh well, I mean, this was just something. I mean, the work that I'm here to do, as I'm noticing it and seeing it over the years, was not anything to do with that habit. That habit was just, oh, I just don't feel like doing this right now, so I'm just not gonna. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
like, and just like let's sleep for a little while, and then 10 years
Yeah.
goes by, and so that's why it is where a lot of people be like, oh, no, this is the thing. It's like, that's not the thing. That was just something else.
Right. And that's a really beautiful way of kind of putting it, that idea of like your drinking is you choosing to avoid like doing the work.
Oh yeah, yes, it was complete avoidance,
Yeah.
like complete avoidance, because you it's always like sort of there, but it just becomes like this. Oh no, I'm choosing. I'm electing not to participate,
Right.
and then the
And
universe just
and
keeps making things worse for you until you're like, all right, I'll participate. Anything is better than how bad this is getting.
right. And when you elect to not participate, like you find ways of, you know, and I know you've talked about this with running groups and other things, like just to shit on other people because they're choosing something else,
Hmm.
because they choose to participate. And, to whatever degree that is, like if it points to you, then and it points to like where you feel inadequate, or where you recognize that, oh, I'm avoiding and I don't want you to remind me that I'm avoiding. So I'm going to be mad at you.
Hmm. Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. And I've seen those themes pop up. It's so interesting because I couldn't see those, and this is just about like life's work. There's so much I don't see yet, and the idea of that not really like people having a collective experience that I didn't relate to or that I wasn't a part of was always triggering to me. And it wasn't until like 2021 when I was involved in a group and I saw it clearly, and it was designed like the exercise was designed to trigger us. But when I saw it with my eyes. I was like, oh, I get it now.
Hmm.
This is all part of it. This is all the same crap. Like all of this is just, and it's the running group, it's the games, it's the not wanting to show up in Girl Scouts as a 6-year-old, it's the not wanting to be in religion, it's the I don't want to talk to my coworkers, it's my coworkers are at a table and I'm drunk at the bar alone. I'm too good for you. I don't want to talk. It's all the same shit. It's all these are all part of the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And just when you see it, you're like, oh,
And that's,
all right.
that's exactly where this begins, right? So subtle is Tao, it has never been seen, and yet nothing that can be seen is without it.
Mm-hmm. I think that was very nice. Like that
Yeah.
kind of came together in a really cool way. I like this 32.
When beings can remain centered in Tao, all that they perceive is in harmony. See, when you can remain centered in the Tao, then you don't have that I am better than them and I'm not going to go sit with them sort of thing. You can just be in harmony with that. And even
Mm-hmm.
if they're just talking their bullshit and doing their things, like they're not centered in Tao. You are. And you can kind of be present in harmony with that.
Mm-hmm.
As that harmony inspires actions, like if you have an action to help all of them get, like get to another place, those actions will have names.
And that's where ego is like,
Yep. Yep.
and then that's kind of like, if people come to you and like if people come to me or people are in my groups or people talk to me and that's their desire, great. But if I'm going out on a mission to I'm gonna save the
Yeah.
world and wake them all up, it's like, well, there's ego. That's
All
not
right.
that's the ego of Andy Scarantino. That's here in her noble good do-goodery shit. Like
Yeah.
that isn't that isn't Tao. That's my ego. So
and
it's
and
just
and that's okay because it's still being guided by Tao, but know
right.
that those names are provisional.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
Know that you can still walk away from that.
Mm-hmm.
If those actions inspire institutions to form, like whatever,
Day
like
one.
AA or something, like know where their reach should end. And because that was an inspired actions, although they may have names, those names needn't be taken too seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Tao is behind it all, even if you cannot see it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, I thought that was good. Good coverage of 32.
I'm glad that we did this.
Yeah. You do have 3 minutes left. Could
I'm
you?
gonna jump.
You're
I'm
gonna
gonna.
jump down, but I would
Yeah.
love if you could read Mitchell's for me.
Oh shit! I don't have my computer open. I'm 32.
Oh,
Let me.
32. You got the book.
Oh, I do have the book. It's in my bag. Hang on. This will
Oh,
take me.
okay. Well, I
No,
was
no, no, no,
just.
no. It'll take me 3 seconds. I have it queued up already.
Oh, okay.
I am so quick. Look at this. Okay, we're on Dow. We're on Mitchell, and let's do 32. Okay. The Tao can't be perceived smaller than an electron. It contains uncountable galaxies. If powerful men and women could remain centered in the Tao, all things would be in harmony. The world would become a paradise. All people would be at peace, and the law would be written in their hearts. When you have names and forms, know that they are provisional. When you have institutions, know where their foundations should end. Knowing when to stop, you can avoid any danger. All things end in the Tao as rivers flow into the sea.
Hmm. I'm so glad I wrote it down.
You did such a good job. Look at that. You did a great job. It was fantastic.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank
I
you for
love you.
joining me for 32. I love you.
I'll talk to you later.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye bye. Okay, thank you all. If you have a number between 1 and 81 you want to read through, definitely come up and let me know, and I will bring you up. Kristen Brown is going to join me for 32. Not 32. She's going to join me for a number that she has. I'm just looking at 32 right now. Hey, Kristen, how you doing?
Hi, good morning, and good morning to Andy
Good morning. Are,
too.
yeah, are you still traveling?
No, we're back from that. I am actually on a walk.
Oh, good.
And I
That's
put in my earbuds and I was listening to you and Andy. I was stuck between, do I just have a quiet moment or do I listen to you and Andy? And I was like, oh, I had to listen to you and Andy.
oh,
I love hearing you guys talk together. It's awesome.
yeah. We get to some nice conversations, so
You
that's
do.
good.
You guys have a really good flow and energy together, and it just kind of sucked me up onto the stage. I was like, okay, you're on.
And here we. So, do you have a number for me today?
Oh, let me come up with them. I'm going to close my eyes for 3 seconds. Hold on. 5. I don't know why. 5.
No, I was like 5 seconds. Okay, so this is entitled "Impartial."
Impartial.
Nature doesn't care. It knows everything is more than it seems. The master doesn't care. She knows that as well. It is good to be empty. Thus the master embraces the void. Like a bellows, she produces from emptiness. Stay centered.
Dude, is this yours?
Yeah.
God, beautiful, Martin. Thank you. Wow. Okay. Timely and perfect because I was just thinking this probably 10, 15, 20 minutes ago. I was like, I could feel myself going, I call it panting. When
Yeah.
I feel like I have to be busy and do something and, oh my God, just dropped my daughter off at school. My husband just left for his thing and I don't have a commitment until 10 Pacific time. And I was like, oh my God, I got to go do this. I got to go, and I started to feel the panting feeling, I call it,
Mm-hmm.
which was very constricting to me, but I can get in that momentum can suck me in when I'm like I have a deadline or something, and then that kind of takes over, and I stay in that momentum way probably because I've just been doing a lot by myself my whole life, and it was only me, so I had to
Right.
stay in that momentum, single mom and whatever, all the things, and I thought this morning, Kristen, you're panting. You know what to do, sister. You got to get quiet. That's the
Mm-hmm.
priority. Stop, get quiet. Go on, because I was like, okay, my next my next thing with my book came came in the email. I was like, I gotta go to. Should I do? I walked into my office, Martin, and I sat there and I was like, no, no, you're not gonna just jump on this. Go for your walk. It's 70 degrees out. It's gorgeous. Go for your walk.
Mm, yeah.
So yeah, yes, thank you, amen. That's all,
Yeah,
that's all I gotta
and
say.
this is such a beautiful, like that's a great experience, and that's what we need to be able to do. And I think that it's becoming easier for people to do that slowly. And I think that
Yeah,
those of us who have been on this journey for a little bit, yourself, myself, Andy, like whoever, like
yeah,
many people on this app,
yeah,
we understand. We understand that stopping is a big deal. Like getting to a place where we can just kind of be, oh, I know there are times where I'm at my computer and I'm like, oh, I gotta do. And then I just kind of like close the computer
yes, I've done that.
just simply because I have that feeling. And it's
Yes,
like, no, like I'm not going to be uh, the victim. I'm not going to
yeah,
be in this space of like having to believe that that is true, that I need to produce at this moment because I don't.
amen.
And when this piece starts, like nature doesn't care. It knows everything is more than it seems. When I wrote that, so much of it meant that you can see like a lion killing an antelope, but that's not the end. It's not the end of the antelope, it's the end of the antelope's body, sure,
Right.
you know, but it is not the end of the story. The story is huge and unfolds in ways that we can never know.
Yeah,
And when we approach it, like the master doesn't care, she knows that as well. She knows that this is going to continue, that just because you don't look at your book today or because you take your walk first doesn't mean that that's the end of anything. It doesn't mean that there's a bigger reason. When I was reading 32 earlier, you might not have been listening. It was before Andy came on. There's this there was this idea that I was looking at, that I was kind of exploring, that was just along these lines of like, hey, you can't know everything. If you did, you'd probably go insane.
Yeah.
Like you can only know what you know. And if you say that I'm sad or I'm lazy, or if you and you come up with a reason for that, well, then you're compartmentalizing. You're putting all that into some little box. You're putting yourself into a little box. But when the master knows that everything is more than it seems, then you have no idea where this walk will take you.
Yes. When I was, right now it's in the formatting portion of the book, but when I was in the actual writing portion of the book, I was, really on fire and motivated to get it done. But there was times when I sat down and I was like, I'm not feeling it. And it felt very forced. And I said, I'm not picking this. I literally got up from my computer, so I'm not doing this until I feel the flow. And it took a week. And I let it be a week. If it was going to be 3 months, I let it be 3 months. No matter how excited I was, because, when we're motivated for something, it's like, yay, yeah, we're on fire, we're excited, and all the right inspiration and motivation was there. But something inside of me was like, hurry up, get this done. And I thought, okay, I got an attachment to this. This hurry up means I'm attached somehow. And I don't know if I ever told you this, but there was a time, did I tell you that I thought I lost my whole manuscript? Actually, I did lose my whole manuscript.
I think you did, yeah.
That was terrible. So, yeah, here I am. It's like 200 pages. What?
Well, I would, once again, there's more to it.
Well, this is what I'm going to tell you, because it's fascinating. Because there's like 200 pages, right? I've been working on it for 5 months, something like that. And I got up and left and came back to the computer, or I X'd out or did whatever. And when I opened it, it only had 11 pages.
Yeah.
And I was like, I flew into this freak out. Now, I'm a very calm person. Like, people around me, things don't faze me a lot. I'm just really, da-da-da. But this, I was wigging out. I'm like, honey, oh my God. And I'm running downstairs. And I was flipping out. And I said to myself, you know what I'm doing? I have so much invested in this. I have an attachment to this book. And if it's gone, it's gone. That's it.
Yeah.
And as I was walking back up the stairs, I said, God, I didn't say that. I said, the book will be there. And if it's not, fine. Like, I felt the detachment, even though it was just like 1 or 2 sentences. And I got up there and I clicked, and it opened and the full thing was there. And I just looked at it, I was like, how? And I truly believe that was God, Spirit saying, sister, your energy's wrong.
Yeah, this isn't
You're
about
attached.
you.
Yep.
Yeah,
this is not about you.
This isn't about your ego. This isn't about you like producing something.
What the book's gonna do. All that.
This isn't your
Yep.
This isn't your book. This is my book, and you're just writing.
Exactly.
Like this is what Tao does for us, right? This is what Tao does for us.
Yes.
And it allows us to be more impartial. Just
and
like
I was able to, yes, and I was able to show up for that, and I was actually really proud of myself, because I do talk about giving the love to yourself and the pats on the back, because we tend to beat ourselves up so much, and we really need to do the opposite. And I was like, wow, Kristen, you really turned that around, because as soon as I recognized, I had the awareness that I was attached, I was like, okay, no. And I did what I needed to do inside of my head to detach from it and say, this is just a work of love. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And that's all there is to it.
And even if it was lost, and, like if you wanted to write the book again, you would have. And if that became too much, you wouldn't have. But
I wouldn't have, by the way. I wouldn't have.
The love that you put out would still have been put out. It wouldn't be like that love that you poured into that went wasted, even if nobody read it, because the energy that you put out was still put out. Like, you did it.
It's still that energy of love, absolutely.
Yeah, and it is, and it has contributed. I've done art shows and that were one day, and like very, very few people saw it, but but I looked at it like, no, it's not about people having seen it. It's about it having been done. That's the important thing. And I don't even have to tell people that it was done in order for it to be, like good, or to have contributed.
Yes.
As we look at the rest of this verse, it's like, it is good to be empty. Just like when you opened up your book and it was like empty. It was like it wasn't there.
Yeah.
Thus, the master embraces the void. And that's what you were able to do. You were able to embrace the fact that it could have been gone.
And I also embrace, yes, and I also embrace the void when I am not feeling inspired. As a quote creator, we can feel a lot of pressure to create. And if I'm not inspired at any time, I'm like, not inspired. I don't feel like doing anything. And I found the paradox in that is that I become inspired not being or accepting the uninspired. So I'm like, yeah, don't want to do anything. And next thing you know, I'm doing something like cleaning the house or taking a walk or going to the grocery store. And because I've released my mind from having to do, the inspiration comes. And it's like, oh, this feels good. Because anytime I'm forcing something, I feel yucky. Like, I don't like the way that feels.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, like even when you stop and say, as a creator, that's identifying yourself as something that you're,
Right.
and it's not like, it's like the only reason that we have the word creator is so that we can identify with something, so that we can put something into a box and understand it in some form.
Right.
But it's all
that's
it's
what,
all it's all random. It's all just like that. None of that has any real validity in our lives, because like, even though, yes, we are all creators, we are all these things, but like, like, that's just identifying.
yes. I've struggled with that. And this is what I've came to is that, like, what's your Instagram handle? What is your little byline of explaining who you are? I have gone back and forth and sideways and swirlies with this for 10 years. I'm like, oh, I'm a spiritual and empowerment coach. Oh, I'm a this, I'm a that. And I had the hardest time wording this because it felt so constricting to me. And I must have changed it a million times, and not because of marketing or because of what I was supposed to do, in quotes. It just didn't, it felt constricting to me. I'm not just that,
Yeah.
right? And then I came to this conclusion, and this made me feel okay. People, this is a wordy planet. We use words. This is how we communicate. And it's okay to put a few words down. That doesn't embody all of it, but those couple of words make another person go, oh, I understand what that is. Let me check that out, or what have you, or it
Or,
pulls
I
someone
understand what that
attention.
is, so I understand who you are, and I can put you in a little box that I understand you.
Yeah, right. And yeah, it's just been a weird journey for me, and it's been so solo because there's not really many people in my personal experience until now on wisdom and meeting other people in the same thing. But my personal circle has been very small because people don't understand these little weird nuances of what we do. It's like, I don't want to call myself anything, but I just want to be Kristen Brown.
Right.
You know,
And that's
it's
what, and ultimately, that's like, that is like, that's you embracing the void. Like, because
yeah,
you are just facing, like, you have, like, that standing, f- you know, understanding the male, the female, the box and the substance, right? The substance and the structure,
yes. And I
the
always
both.
say, God is my algorithm, because I, at first started listening to, oh, make sure you do this and do that and do the other. And I was like, no, as far as tagging and things like that. And I will do some things if they feel inspired to me. But, the rules are constantly changing. And there has been, what I've noticed, really no rhyme or reason to anything. What matters is that I'm in the proper vibration, the vibration of love and openness and expansion and purely just love. In those vibrations, that's when things spoke to people, whether it was.
Come back up. You just cut out. And I want to say, like, yes, everything that you're speaking of is right on and brings us into the last lines. Like a bellows, she produces from emptiness.
Oh,
Stay
dude.
centered.
Yeah.
Like a bellows, like it's emptiness that we produce from. And so many in the world, and this is like what you were expressing, like all of, in your circle before wisdom and stuff. So many people are producing from their education and producing from their identity and producing from that box that they keep themselves in because they can't understand the world outside of structure. And so they need that structure in order to feel
Yeah.
whole. And the thing is
Or
that
they
those
got
structures
control.
are keeping them from actually experiencing wholeness, actual wholeness.
100%. Yes. And it's I feel like it's that those lists and structures is a means of control too, which is rooted in ego, of course. But I'm the opposite of this, which is kind of funny. I've always been, or for the majority that I can remember, have been someone who likes to flow. Like that's almost my default. So when I get into the place of panting, it's like, where the hell did this come from? Right? What kind of belief have I attached to? Because that doesn't work for me because, you guys know I talk a lot about my relationship with my kids and how amazing it is and blah, blah, blah. And I parented through flow. That's what I did. A little bit of thinking, of course, because we have a brain, but it was like, what do I do? How do I do this? So it was through that openness and expansive through flow, I'm just calling it flow, talking to God, guidance, whatever you want to call it, that have gave me my best successes. It's anytime I'm trying to do something, and I am great at that in the majority of my life. But sometimes in my business, I still have attachment to things like, oh, I'm supposed to do. I'm like, no, you're not supposed to do. You're supposed to go vacuum right now, or whatever it is that I'm feeling like I want to do. And that's what I did this morning. I checked in with myself and I said, what feels good next? What feels good next is a walk
And
and talk.
that's
Yeah.
the thing that speaks to me immediately is that, like, you call it in my business, right? And so you've already compartmentalized it. You've already put it separate from everything else. It is not you.
Tell me
It is
more.
in my business, in this
Yep.
in this ego-driven idea of what I'm supposed, like. So
Yes, give it to me. I need this.
once you compartmentalize something into something else, then,
Yeah.
because why is quote unquote your business any different than your life? Like, why have
That's
you
right.
decided to compartmentalize this aspect of you that now has a right and wrong? Right now it's in a box and there's a right and wrong, and I get to follow this rather than just being like, you know what, my business doesn't necessarily have to make money. Maybe I make money in my life and my business is just something I do, but once we start to identify one from the other, right? And then this is very, similar to being impartial. It's good to be empty, but your business is not empty because it has a definition of what a business is. Thus the master embraces the void. Leave the business behind, because the business is not part of a void. It is part of a thing. It has a definition. Before you ever built anything, business had a definition that other people understood, as did you.
Yeah.
Like a bellows, she produces from emptiness. You produce that love. You spread that without having to identify it as a business at all. And so, like, when you don't look at parenting as parenting and you just are like, I'm just doing this thing.
You know what's funny? I didn't.
Yeah.
It was like I didn't have a conscious thought about it. I'm sure somewhere in there maybe I did, but the responsibility of these little babies because they're mine and, blah, blah. But I did not look at it as at all like I have to quote parent, like,
Right.
you know, figure this out. I didn't look at it as like that. As like, what feels like the next thing to do with these babes?
Yeah.
How do I like? It wasn't yes, yes, Martin John. There wasn't an attachment to. Well, I did have the goal, the desire to be a great parent, right? But I didn't feel. I don't know. There wasn't an
Well,
attachment to it.
don't forget it's a different
Yeah,
time, right?
yeah,
Like so
yeah,
different understanding to consciousness. Maybe you did, and maybe you did. You know,
yeah.
like maybe you were still in flow. Maybe that flow led to reading books. Maybe that flow led to having date. You know, like play dates, which sometimes got competitive, like deep down. Who knows? But that was a different time. So it's not about comparing. It's about being in the void right now as you are, without having to identify what was as to what needs to still be, and it doesn't. It's just about who you are now. When I hear like in my business, it really separated it. I'm like, I'm no longer talking to Kristen Brown. I'm talking. We're now talking about her business, right? Which is something completely different. And if it is
Yeah,
completely different, it just like your children have a connection to Tao as well, and need to be able to be what it is rather than what you want it to be.
right, right. How much time do I have left? Because what does it say there?
It's just under 9 minutes.
Oh, okay. What was your timer to?
15.
Oh, okay. Because when I looked at it earlier, I was like, is this timer right?
You
So
did
I
come
was
back
afraid.
up.
Oh, that's what it is too. Because I was afraid that it. Well, when it timed out, I thought I had like 5 minutes left. You're like, oh, you dropped out. I'm like, what? But I don't have my glasses on, so I'm just going to say
Yeah,
that.
quite all
I'm
right.
on a walk with my sunglasses on. But yeah, did we finish all the lines, Martin John?
Yep, it ends with like a bellows she produces from emptiness. Stay centered.
Yeah, I cannot wait to purchase my copy of your
It's
book.
coming. It's
Dude,
coming.
you know,
It's
I
coming.
say it every time I'm on the stage. And yeah, and the divination cards, or oracle cards, whatever people call
The
them, when you
oracle cards,
decide to
yeah,
do
yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Because,
I think I'm going to put the book up for sale as soon as I can so it can help me fund the Oracle deck. So,
yeah.
and
Is it
then,
going to be a
maybe I'll
hardback?
do, what's that?
Is it going to be a paperback?
I don't know. I got to look at like print on demand sort of options and stuff. Like,
Yes.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
so I'm going to I got to look at my options and things, but I'm still writing like notes for each of the chapters so that you can
Yeah.
like read the first, and it's just kind of like translation notes. Like, this is how I understand what I just wrote.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be a course and other stuff like that where it's like that's going to be in video form, and I'll just talk about each of them and stuff, and there's going to be an app and all sorts of stuff I'm building. So
Good job.
yeah,
You
it's
know
going to be fun.
what I like is what resonates with me as a learner, as a seeker, is really just poignant, small quotes or sentences. Like the
Yeah,
last thing you said. Read the last one again. The last line. The empty.
like a bellows she produces from emptiness.
Stay grounded. Right.
Stay
Or
centered. Yeah.
stay centered. Yes. Like a bellows she produces from emptiness. Stay centered. Man, that has been nothing but true in my life repeatedly. Repeatedly. It's just in that, I'm just going to call it nothingness, or just, you know, baseline, just da 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 da, do 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 is
Yeah.
what I call it.
Yeah. If you could just
That,
close your eyes and say, if I
yeah,
was on a scale,
yep,
would this be balanced? And
yeah,
be like, oh, you know what? I'm putting more on this side of the scale. And it's like,
yeah,
oh, just Abraham Hicks talked about, like, if you close your eyes and imagine yourself as a cork, can you imagine yourself just going upstream? What choice would bring you that way?
if you imagine yourself as a cork,
Like in a river,
yeah,
like what choice that's in front of you would move you with the stream? Like,
yes,
would be the one with the least resistance.
yes,
It's just like, oh, well, it's that choice, obviously. Okay. Well then,
yes, that is,
that's more information, whether or not.
and that's to me what I feel like when I when I really get into that empty space of just what feels good next. And things flow. It's that detachment to me. It really is. It's just, that's when it all pours forth. And here's the interesting part for me, Martin John. When it pours forth, it doesn't feel like pouring forth.
No.
Yeah, it's just like all of a sudden, oh, okay. It's
Yeah.
like there's no, because I'm already in that energy that it's, or flow or whatever state that is, that it's just like, I don't even notice when I start producing or whatever word you want to use because I'm in that state. Same thing
Right.
like with parenting. If someone's like, how did you do? I don't know. Do you
No.
remember the moment that? No, because it really wasn't super conscious. It was kind of, I'm just at a loss for words of how to explain it. It was just this,
Yeah.
it just kind of came forth.
Yeah. Like you
Yeah.
were saying earlier, like when I close my computer to do nothing, within 20 minutes,
Yeah.
I discover that something is being done. Like
That's
that doesn't
exactly
mean that
right.
it's just like, whether, like I might go into a meditation and then all of a sudden, like my life just kind of like, oh, now I've created space rather than filling up every
Yes.
moment. I've created space to be inspired.
Yeah. I love that so much.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you, Martin John.
Absolutely. Thank you for
Thank you, my
coming
friend.
up. I'm gonna
You
I'm
betcha.
gonna I'm gonna switch out with Julie and then
Sounds
we'll be
good.
in touch. Love you,
Okay.
dear.
Bye, brother. Love you
Bye
too.
bye.
Bye.
My dear, how are you?
I am awake from sleep.
Oh, were you napping?
No, I was on night shift.
Oh, on your shift.
On my night shift,
What are you doing these days?
I went back to my job.
Okay. How's that going?
All right, I'm learning
Good.
some stuff.
You're learning. What are you learning?
I'm learning to appreciate the interactions I'm having with people,
Yeah.
and there's changes
There's
in
changes in you, changes in them, changes
both,
in yeah.
in all things. There's changes in all things. And I'm just observing it. It's very nice.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, it's well, it's good to are you how did the decision come about to do that? To go back. And I'm just inquiring about like how you are.
Let's go with the Tao.
Yeah. Okay. So
So
give me a number.
um, I'll go for number 24.
This one's titled Do What Is to Be Done.
There's your answer.
Yeah. Standing on tiptoes robs you of firm footing. Rushing ahead robs you of knowing where you are. Looking at yourself robs you of seeing. Boasting of yourself robs you of your brilliance. Overpowering others robs you of your power, and clinging to your work robs you of longevity. If you want to allow with Tao, just do what is to be done and then stop.
That is fabulous. And that is exactly why I went back to work.
Yeah.
This,
It's like how long like you it's been 6 months or so since you left?
um, I finished the last day on the 28th of April. I went back to work on the 29th of September. Just quite a big gap.
Yeah, that's 5 months.
And this is how it happened. I lost my card. I've got a card, an ID card that allows me in the building. I've got another ID card that allows me onto the computer system and the training tracker and all of these things on the e-roster. And I hunted high and low for it and I couldn't find it. So I thought that this meant that I shouldn't return to work. I can't find it. I can't even access the building, let alone go into work. So I'm looking for this card daily, and we go through like a dose of salts every item in my boat, every trouser pocket, every coat pocket, every book bag, and good and chattel. Still couldn't find this card. It's here somewhere. Still can't find it. I got a telephone call on the 27th of September, and it was the manager. Hello, she said, I just thought I'd let you know you're on a long day tomorrow. So that's how I ended up going back to work.
Wow.
So that's good. So I did.
Yeah. And so you did. It was just it just
Go with
happened for you.
yeah, go with the flow.
That's right. Just do what is to be done.
Yeah. So that was magic. And then while I've been there, I've noticed so many different things. And it's been good. I've been given experiences that have been so what I would call synchronized with my kind of awareness or my questioning sort of behavior. I've had
Yeah.
things occur to me. I've had conversations. I've had laughs, jokes. I've met people and people have left via the great exit of this
Mm-hmm.
realm.
Yeah.
And just to teach me again something, because I don't think the Tao was sure whether I took on board the whole experience the first time round.
Well, that's the thing. Like everything has more to offer.
Yeah,
Just like you were saying, like everything changes, right? Like so here it is. This is a different experience than you had before.
yeah,
You know? And when I look at this, do what is to be done, and we look at standing on your tiptoes, rushing ahead, looking at yourself, boasting of yourself, overpowering others, and clinging to your work. Even clinging to your work, clinging to the work of your the nomadic sort of experience or the pilgrim, right? Clinging to being that, clinging to an identity.
I can't cling. I
Right.
just cannot do it. It doesn't matter if I try.
Yeah,
I still can't cling to it. I'm forever changing, and
that's right.
and around me, and people, and places, and time, and everything is forever changing. So it's so difficult, so stagnant, and such an effort to cling to that identity. It would be too much hard work. And like I've told you before, I'm lazy.
You're lazy. It's funny. Someone asked me the other day, like now that you're going to have more expenses with your house and stuff, have you thought about like, how, you're going to work or whatever? And I was just like, oh, no. Like, not not that I'm not open to it, like because like I might, I can always go back and deliver food once I get a car and all that kind of stuff. I can do
Yeah,
all these little things that I can, it's like it's all fine whatever I do. I also got all this Dow stuff I'm happening, and that, I mean, who knows how much that'll like
or
afford me or whatever,
queso,
yeah,
queso,
but whatever will be, like so I get to kind of be in this space where it's like I don't have to stand on my tiptoes. I don't have to. I can firmly just be where I am, and I don't have to rush ahead and try and figure it all out
Hmm.
because I'm here right now, and right now might have the answer for all of that she is worried about. My friend Amanda, who, she has a home, and she's gone about her life with, like by being a designer and then, an artist on the side. And now her art is affording her more freedoms. But these are things that I'm not, attracted to doing. And so, but when I am, I do them, like as soon as I need to do them, they get done, as soon
Yeah,
as I need to work, or as soon as work kind of presents itself to me, I take it and I utilize it. I don't turn away from anything.
that's it.
like, um and here, this one really, like, all of this stuff, in the beginning, standing on tiptoes robs you of firm footing. Like, if you, like, you don't have to look ahead and try and figure out what's in front of you, or you don't have to be taller than anybody else. Like, just be you, be be on the ground. Rushing ahead robs you of knowing where you are. Like, if you're always looking forward, you're not looking at where you are. Just like, you receive that call, here you are. Now you're working. It's
Yeah.
done. Looking at yourself robs you of seeing. So if you and Brad were just constantly, like, you know, ego driven along the pilgrimage and just looking at yourself, like, you're not going to be able to see all the things around you, all the beauty that's around you. It's just like you're just looking at your discomfort or your comfort or your ego or your whatever.
Yeah.
Boasting of yourself robs you of your brilliance.
Oh, yes.
All, like, the minute you start telling somebody, like, I've done this and how great am I, all of a sudden, all of the things, we were talking about this earlier with 32, this idea that, like, it's not what you can see. Just because, like, if you feel like, I'm sad today, and then you say, I'm sad because of ABC, well, you're not open to all of the things that are contributing to that. Maybe you're actually going through a growth, and your sadness is just something that you have to leave behind. But
Yeah.
you rob yourself of your brilliance by trying to identify with the things that you're feeling, and thinking that you know what it is that's going on. There's stuff going on behind the curtains all the time, and we have to trust that.
Yeah. It's none of our business what's
That's
going on
right.
behind the curtains.
That's right. We're just
Because,
here,
yeah, if
and
curtains are drawn, there's a reason for that. Let the curtains be drawn.
yeah, we don't want to see what's on the other side of that, because if you do, like, it's gonna, like like I don't know that anyone has, but it just, like, we're not ready for that.
That's right. That's
You
why
know.
they're drawn.
That's
Absolutely.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if
Things
you
come
want to,
as they should, as
yeah, that's
they
right.
are, and then they go exactly the same way.
Yeah. And if you want to align with Tao, just do what is to be done, then stop. Just, like, whatever is here now, just do that. And then let it go. Like, you don't have to hold on to it. If you're angry, be angry. If you're sad, be sad. If you like this moment, like this moment. If you don't. But it doesn't need any more judgment than that. Recognize what needs to be done, and then stop. Don't have any other attachment to it. Just do what's to be done.
Yeah.
Like, when we meditate, or sit quietly or whatever, and we notice that our mind is working, you notice it, but don't contribute to it.
Lovely.
And that's
Well
what
said.
so many of
Well
us,
said, that is.
like, we follow the story. We continue to tell the story. We contribute to it. Notice it. Do what's to be done. Like, notice it. But then stop. Stop contributing to your own stuff. Stop contributing to your own, like, frustrations. Stop thinking that there's a problem. Notice that you don't like it, but then stop. And then move on. Okay, I don't like this moment. We don't have to identify it as a problem. We don't have to say that it needs solving. We just do what we notice it, do what needs to be done, and then move on.
Yeah. It's like, to me, that sentence is like diluting a squash or magnifying a breadcrumb.
Yeah. Well, that's what it is, right? Those thoughts are like just little breadcrumbs. And it's like, well, we could say that, we can make up story as
And it
all
changes.
about
Yeah,
that.
it changes the thing. It changes the aspect. It changes the experience if you're
That's right.
forever holding on to it, or laying importance to a thing. Your whole thought on that changes your experience. So let the experience be what it is.
Right, without having to add to it, without having to
Yes.
make it something of your own.
Yeah.
I've talked to people before, like clients and things, and I've told them, like when you tell stories in your mind, you about people and whatnot, like
You
you
rewrite.
actually, what's that?
You rewrite it.
Yeah, and you change the relationship, but only for you,
Yeah.
because they weren't a part of how you changed it.
Yep. Absolutely.
Mm.
So there you are. There's the answer to the question. How did that come about?
Right? That's
It just did.
so down. Um, I want to thank you so much for coming up and send my best to Brad.
I will. He's busy. He is busy on the computer.
Oh,
He's busy with discovery.
yeah. I'll
But that's
discover a way. And good luck to you. Good luck to you. When do you work next?
I've got a couple of days off now, so that's nice.
Oh, I'll enjoy those.
I
And
haven't
and
got a clue what's
congratulations
gonna
for
happen.
congratulations for opening up and receiving that.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah,
And it takes some new things to help balance it all out. But good luck
yeah.
in that journey.
Thank you. Take care.
Love you. All right, we're going to bring up Lois, and then we're going to call it because I do have something in about 45 minutes, and I got to prep for it.
Hey, Martin. Oh my
Hey, how you doing, love?
I'm doing good. I ain't talking yet, so I'm a little stuffy today. But
Oh,
fan
okay.
fucking tastic.
Did you have a pasta meal yesterday?
Huh?
Did you have
Uh,
a pasta yesterday? I don't
no,
know
I
what.
didn't have pasta. I had enchiladas and had cheese.
Ah, okay, there you go.
So I'm starting to notice that
Yeah,
cheese
it was
don't
it
like
was
me
the
that
it was
much
it
anymore.
was the carbs and cheese that's.
No, it's the milk and the cheese, probably.
Ah, okay, okay.
Okay, because it does do me all the time, but I make cheesy enchiladas, so
Ah,
so if I would assume what happened to my nose, I would
yeah.
say it was the cheese.
There
Okay,
you go. Okay.
but anyway, well, I got 2,999.9 miles on my bike, so either 29 or 9. Because all of them nines just showed up last night. As soon as I pulled up and something said, "Look at your speedometer," I was like, "Ooh, look at that mileage! Hey, go, go!" It was,
I
but I
love I
did do
love I
that.
love it when that happens. You're just right on that, right on the money.
Yeah. So either one, 29 or 9.
So let's look at 29. 29 is make the world a better you.
Uh-huh.
Do you want to make the world a better place? How arrogant you must be. The world, like you, is sacred and cannot be improved. A force of will would ruin it. If it had a guide, it would be misled. There are times for all things, even this, whatever it happens to be. The master allows all things to be as they are. She doesn't want to control them. She simply lets them do what they do. She also does what she does, staying connected to Tao.
Oh, that's good. Cause I ain't trying to change nobody. I would love everybody to feel this love that I feel flowing through me all the time, making me feel so electric. you know.
Yeah.
But all I can do is tell you about it and tell you how I got there. But people got to choose to get there on their own. And until that time, I'm just going to continue to be Lois, enjoying
Yeah.
this journey. And as I'm enjoying the journey, I've been watching my sister, my daughter, my other daughter, and even this past week, my sister had a conversation with my brother that was like esoteric, and I'm thinking, what?
Wow.
So yeah, so no matter what, and then wait, and then the brother that I said that you remind me of.
Mm-hmm.
and I stopped skip tracing him and looking for him and trying to figure out whether he was dead or whether he's in prison or whatever. Because I do that every few years. For a couple of months ago, I got a phone call from a bill collectors that tell me he alive. That's the first part. And
Mm.
then yesterday, I got a Facebook friend request from him. But no,
Oh.
but there was no picture or anything, and I was the first friend request. So I'm just putting it out there. I think he gonna contact me in a minute. You know what I'm saying? Because I've
Oh,
been
good.
looking. Because I mean, Martin, you don't know how long I've been looking for my brother.
Yeah.
you know, and when I say I skip trace, I mean like a detective, because because that forensic thing is in my blood.
Yeah.
Because I put it there, trying to deal with all the stuff, and then I watched a lot of those shows, and I'm very observant, and I had to run away from somebody for 6 years because they was
Mm.
homicidal. So
Mm-hmm.
I've learned
You
how
know
to
all about that.
I learned how to hide and how to find.
Yeah.
Okay, it's like hide and go seek. Yeah, I'm a good at that one. So I'm believing that he's going to turn up, because right now I'm not really looking for him. I just put it out in the universe. I just want to hear from him and see how he's doing. Because
Yeah.
it's been shit, 13 years.
Jesus. Well,
13 years.
I, I,
You
I,
know,
I hope, I really do hope that you get to talk to him.
I do.
Like as this piece starts, do you want to make the world a better place? How arrogant you must be. And I hear, your take on this. Like you don't want to change nothing about your brother and his
I know.
situation. You just want to observe it. You just want to see it. You just want to be here with it. And you want to
Yeah.
be able to know that it's okay. And I think that that's beautiful. And I think that that really, you know, when you go out in the world and you're like, I want to make the life of my brother better. Like that comes from a place of arrogance. It comes from a place of like you believe his life is
It's
not good,
shit.
but all
Okay.
you want to do is be connected with him, and
Yeah.
that is so beautiful. And that is, kind of being, in the end, we have the master allows all things to be as they are. She doesn't want to control them. She simply lets them do what they do. She
Right.
also does what she does, staying connected to Tao. You skip traced your brother, but you allowed your brother to stay out there. You even if you would have connected with him, you would have allowed him to be who he is out there, and you would just do what you do. So you simply allow him to be him, and you allow yourself to be yourself without saying, like, look, my skip tracing and my trying to track him down hasn't yielded anything. There's no judgment there. You just allow it to be what it is.
Yeah. And that's basically it. I looked, and because something put it on my heart, and since I've been on this app and I've been talking to you, and you reminded me of the brother that's still maybe alive, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody else reminded me of the brother that left. So I'm like, wait a minute, I got a brother like you. I need to see if I can find him. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And yet, but you still my brother.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so no, I'm not
Yeah.
trying to change him or anything. I'm trying to,
Right.
if he's on the street, I ain't trying to pick him up and bring him. No, I ain't trying to do a damn thing. Been there,
That's
done
right.
that before. Been there, done that, trying to be ooh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been on
And
both
I had to
sides of
pay.
that. You know.
I had to pay for that shit. Oh, I was like,
Mm-hmm.
whoa. But I just want to know he's okay. I want to know that he's in his right mind. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah, and
because
it's just to be able to pray for him a little bit, like to allow that,
yeah,
and that's what this is stating. Like this next line, the second line is the world, like you, is sacred and cannot be improved. Your brother can't be improved.
no,
Your brother's perfect as he is, just like
amen,
you. And
amen.
he is going to go, and when he gets in touch with you, if he gets in touch with you, if you get in
Mhm.
touch with him, that'll be perfect as it unfolds.
Yeah. And the thing is, even if he gets in touch with me and he's like, "Some told me to get in touch with you," and I'm gonna say, "Yeah, me." No, and I will, because he knows Lois like that.
Yeah, yeah,
That when I want to find something or find somebody, I look for him, or I'm gonna say, or I'll put the light out for him.
yeah,
The beacon of light that says, "Come home, see the light, see," whatever. Here
yeah,
we are, we love you. Because I mean, sometimes when our people get out there and they're in that world that doesn't necessarily agree with you or them, but they're there, they tend to believe that no, they have nobody. This is where it is, and this is how it is, and they can't contact us, even if we ain't did nothing. Because I ain't did nothing. I never told them, don't call me. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
And it's just like that's his shame. His shame keeps us. Well, his shame kept him away from us in the past.
Yes.
And that's what I do know now. Anything right now was keeping him. I have no idea, but I just hope he's doing okay, and maybe he's in contact with his son and he got a good relationship with his son or whatever. But yeah, so I don't have any vested interest, but the interest I have is just to show him, hey, we still love you. Come
Yeah.
in out the cold. Come on, we will help you. We'll help you when it comes to motivation, but we can't help you when it comes to making that change in your mind.
Right. Right. Right.
And I
And
can't
that's
go ahead.
and that's exactly what this next line says. A force of will. If you had some will over him, that forcing that will would ruin him
Yeah.
and would ruin the relationship, and it would ruin it. Like this is talking about the earth, right? The world, like you, is sacred. If you tried to force your will upon it, you would ruin the world. And you would ruin the world of this person if you want to force your will on them. Just like, when we look at people trying to get their children to not be gay or not be
Mm.
trans, or when you try and force your will upon other people, you ruin those people. You ruin that experience and that beautifulness of that individual.
And I, and when you say it like that, then because I know that when I saw him last, I was so proud of him and everything. I guess it was too much too soon. I said, I am so glad that you're back. Now you can be the head of our family as the eldest child.
Yeah.
That scared him. I'm gonna be like, I'm serious. I really think that scared him because even when we were kids, even though I'm 4 years younger, I was put in charge of him and my other brother.
Yeah.
I'm just my mom was. She said I was more responsible, but I never wanted that responsibility. You know,
Right.
so I definitely don't want to push him away. I just want to let him know that hey, we still love you, regardless to where you live and how you live, and man, it
Hmm.
don't even matter. We still love him. And we
That's
want to
right.
know he's still here because he is I ain't gonna sit here and lie. He is the oldest of us left.
Yeah.
I'm the oldest if he's not here, but I'm hoping that wasn't a that letter. I mean that voicemail I got a couple of weeks ago was real, and
Yeah.
and that this friend request yesterday was real. So, and if it is, I just wanted them to know that yeah, hey, we love him, and I think I may
Yeah.
just write a note to him and say, where you been? We miss you. We love you. And that's
Yeah.
it. And if you respond, you don't. Because yesterday when I got the fear, because I was like, oh my God. So I just waved,
Hmm. Yeah.
because I didn't
You
know.
gotta keep it chill.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Because
Yeah.
I was, me, man, I got excited.
Yeah.
And I don't want to scare him away with that excitement, make him think, okay, oh my God, no, I don't have no expectations other than to know he's alive and well. That's
Oh,
that's
beautiful.
that's because if he's still here, that means he can still make whatever change he needs to make to be back on his journey. Because I know the stuff that affected me so heavily affected him worse because it was a man that abused us,
Yeah.
and he is a boy,
Right.
and that's
Yep.
it's a little different. I mean, at least from my doing therapy with people, the men tends to have a worse time facing that abuse, especially when it's done by the same sex. Now,
Yeah.
they still have a problem when it's done by a woman, but they have more of a problem when it's done by the same sex.
Yeah.
So yeah, so like I said, I've never pushed them on any of it. My sister had the conversation. I didn't have that conversation because he knows that this is what I do.
Yeah.
He didn't bring the conversation up with me, but he did say he was working on it. Okay, that
No.
really coming to grips with it. But man, we old. I mean, well, no, we not old, but we are because he'll be 65 December 12th. You know,
Mm.
so it's kind of like sometimes people can't get out of that stuff that they're thrown into he was a baby, he was a kid, because I know
Yeah.
I was a baby, and once you mess with somebody before they 7 years old and they haven't even got their whole I can understand my consciousness part, it's kind of hard for them to come back. And I've watched this over and over again, you know So I'm just praying that this was a good communique and that this was legit and all that kind of stuff because I love my brother and I do miss him. Okay, for whatever reason, I do miss him now. He's been spotty all our life, but hey, when he does come in, he usually comes in, and I can still hear his growth and all that kind of stuff. And but I'm hoping he drops the shame. I'm
Yeah.
hoping he drops the shame because that's what this is all about. He's ashamed because he was doing so good last time I saw him, and then he listened to somebody and did some. Well, he listened to himself and thought he was gonna come up fast. Okay,
Yeah.
and it don't work like that. But thank you. That was a good one. So now I know I'm gonna just kick back and just chill and see what
Yeah.
happens. But I love
Allow
you too,
all
my
things
brother.
to
Even
be.
if even if my bio brother comes out of the woodworks, you still my brother, Martin John, because you
I am
still you.
glad. I'm glad. I don't.
No, I'm
I don't.
serious. I ain't trying. Look. I ain't trying to replace him, and I ain't trying to replace you. I'm just
Mhm.
gaining more.
Yeah, that's right. It's just more,
Okay.
and I, like it's beautiful when we can be in relationship like that, where it's like there's just more. So many people look at relationships as like an opportunity to lose something.
Yeah.
Like or a possibility that something will be lost. But that's not what this is. It's
No,
never been that.
it's not, and it really when it comes to me, it really has never been that. I
Yeah,
just wanted a relationship with my brother.
that's right.
He was so cool when I was a kid. I mean, I'm being real. He
Yeah,
was so freaking cool because he's a badass musician and played with Stevie Wonder. He's done so much shit. Till
yeah,
I love my brother and I miss him. But anyway, thank you for the
yeah.
dial. I love you, Martin.
I love you, man. You have a
Take
wonderful.
okay, bye.
So I was going to end here, but Dr. Rao's in line. I'm going to bring him up, and then we'll cut out. But I want to see if he has anything to add. Dr. Rao, how are you, my friend?
I am good, Martin. How are you?
I am blessed.
Okay, very good. Yeah, I just in the middle of in the between the meetings, I thought I will
Oh yeah,
say
yeah. I
hello.
have one. I have one coming up in a half hour, so I just wanted to
Yeah,
I wanted to
you know,
bring you up and say hello and
yeah.
I've been thinking a lot about like so much that you have offered me over the since we've met maybe close to a year ago. I don't know, but I'm so grateful for all that you are like that you offer here on Wisdom and you've offered me.
Oh, no problem. That's I think we are like explore this Tao and Brahman. So and that's a um, not many people do that, right? In that sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's okay. They can be on their journey. I'm not judging them, but it's comfortable to talk to somebody who can relate to that, like we do.
Yeah, yeah. I really appreciate that. And I
Yeah,
appreciate there being someone, like I've
yeah,
been blessed just to be able to have these conversations and,
yeah.
and to have been on this journey, like looking at Dow for,
You know what?
over 2 decades.
I will tell you something that happened this morning with my sister,
Oh,
and
please.
she is in India, you
Yeah.
know, Secunderabad is near Hyderabad. So she's 80 years old now, but still has the mind to communicate with me and all that, right? So I
Mm.
can uh, call her and see how she's doing, what is almost daily at the time when I do my yoga class completely done. Then I go and do some aerobic workout on the treadmill, sometimes 15 minutes, 20 minutes, that, right? Then I call her. That like a easy for me to talk to her on while I'm treadmilling and all that, right? So she was telling me about how our mind is going all over, right? And
Mm-hmm.
um, uh, when I tell her, okay, this is an opportunity for you because you can really come and go inside of yourself and then find out, because these things have to be investigated by themselves too. So the difficulty is when I talk in a certain way, and then certain things are brought on, and she's very comfortable with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when somebody else comes, my own other brother who lives in the same city, but they're not next door each other, but they're one corner, other corner, right? And he calls her, and then He talks about mundane matters like simple things and all that. The thing is, she's switching her mindset into two different mindsets, like, you know.
Yes.
But most of the time, if you are exposed to the mindset that are mundane only, don't have any interest in that, the problem is not them. The problem is how you keep your mindset at the same time.
Right.
So that's the challenge, because most of the people don't want to listen to you because you don't rhyme with them.
Right.
So then how do you, so then I told her a story with what happened with Ramana Maharshi. He was every day getting up and going around the hill, which is like a 12 miles, 12, whatever it is. But he used to go around it because he kind of worshipped that hill. He has a very significant spiritual meaning for him, right?
Mhm.
Its name is Arunachala. Aruna means that which is intensely aware, light, like,
Mhm.
Aruna, the sun, like the sun, your awareness is so bright. And Achala means no movement. Look at any hill, it doesn't have movement, right?
Right.
And rain come, thunder come and all of that. What does it do? It kind of takes it, keeps steady during all seasons, good or bad
Yeah.
seasons.
Yeah.
And that is the symbolism of these sacred hills, that they are telling you, keep your mind without that movement,
Mm.
right? The stillness.
Yeah.
So I was telling my sister to be in that stillness, but then how you protect the stillness from when somebody else is? It's easy for us to roll back into the conditioned self very easily,
Right.
because other person may be bringing that or maybe not. But then if you engage with them, then it's going to be detrimental to your states of consciousness. Right?
Right. If you entertain the
Yeah,
mundane sort of
yeah.
frustrations of,
Yeah,
distractions of the day,
yeah.
then
What you're doing there is you are falling out of your, that Tao state.
right, and moving into the
Yeah,
state of
yeah.
manifestation.
That is the
What?
thing I always warn you about. But then Ravana Maharshi said this. This man who was accompanying him was there in that ashram for several years, and he was going for the self realization and all that, right? And some people did, some people not. So Ramana Maharshi was uh, going along with him, whatever it is, and then he saw this man spending a lot of time for the regular visitors who come there casually just to see the ashram, but doesn't really want to know what's the deeper meaning of whatever the teaching that they are going on, or anything like that, right? They don't have the,
Hmm.
if you look at wisdom app, I think many people are curious, but they're not serious about doing things.
Right.
That's fair to say. I think it's nothing wrong with them. It's their thing. But the thing is, what is that you are doing when they are talking to them? That's the question. So he told Sadhu Om, don't engage with them, because there are so many people can do that, but somebody who has advanced to this state are rare.
Mm.
And he's if he doesn't do, somebody else will do that mundane thing. But this man getting back he advances some, and then he is getting back to the same spot again, right? But
Yeah.
it is that serious, people may not understand, oh, you're a big deal. No, 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 it's a question of spiritual sadhana, spiritual aim, spiritual quest, and the seriousness that requires maybe dims if you engage in the mundane matters, no matter what, whoever it is.
Yeah.
See, that's the only thing we have to keep in mind. So I told my sister, oh, okay, other brother called. What did he say? He doesn't really have to do anything with this deep spiritual stuff, but he is a religious person in the sense he goes to temples and worships and all of that, But that's not external. They have their own way, right to do that. But that's only initial thing, right? But later you have to graduate yourself. That's a spiritual quest. When people are like that, then talking to these people just to engage them and then humor them and go to that level is a problem.
Yes, yes, I agree.
Not for them, for you.
Yes, yes, absolutely. It's not
Yeah,
like if I were to engage and humor people
yeah,
into into
yeah,
reading through the Tao when they
yeah,
like and they want to constantly just reinforce like the manifestation
yeah.
like that,
Exactly,
then
exactly. I know
that
they
pulls
have
me.
the to do that, but then people take several lifetimes to come to the susceptibility of being with the Tao or Brahman.
Hmm.
So it's a lot of hard work involved in there. But then, being unaware of this kind of thing that's going on, they engage just to be friendly, just to be nice, and all that, which is okay. We can be all that, but we don't have to see. That's a when Raman Maharshi, so many people went to him, talked to him. He never was out of that state.
Right.
How? Because suppose you go and ask him some question like, "Oh, that this is not." Then he will ask you, Martin, who is that asking the question?
Yeah.
Immediately you are drawn back to the Tao because you know your personality is the asking you the question.
Right. Like,
And the moment
yeah.
he asked the question, what did he do? He did not come down to the mind. He
No.
identified that in you right away.
Hmm. Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah.
That's what I want to tell you because
Yeah.
the that happens, then you are more firmly what we call it a self abidance.
Mm.
This is a practice I do. That's why lots of times you are kind of free, but at the same time you are engaged with the world,
I hear you. Yeah.
and then you will never out of this because um, even if I'm talking to my sister, I did not go to the mind.
Right.
I was drawing her towards this, which she was able to do.
Hmm.
Then I also told her the danger of involving with everybody else. If you don't want to take the spiritual quest, now that's fine. Leave them alone. They will do their own time. But
Yeah.
if you are, then probably I will identify you because you are always with the Tao and all that. Then I say, okay, the Martin is there, so let's. And I see that I point out. That's all. You know what I mean?
I absolutely understand, and
Yeah.
I'm always grateful for your work.
Not that because I do that, I could say that what I say make more sense to me because you're closer to that.
Yeah. Hmm.
And then you catch that and you stay there. Even if you have to talk to 100 people, you talk to me, immediately you're in there.
Yes, and that's why
Yeah,
it's such a it's a different
different,
experience.
different energy, different.
Yeah.
Uh, is a kind of how I do the self abidance is this. Uh, Once you are abided in the true nature of yours, which is the Brahman, which is the Tao, right? Once you are abided in that, then you sleep before you sleep, become aware of it, get your awareness around that. And the deeper that awareness is, actually, the deeper and the wider you become self abidance.
Yeah.
Very advanced spiritual practice, I'm telling you. That is, once you do that and get the hang of it, oh my God, the whole 24 hours, what you did washes off, Martin.
Yeah.
And then you
Uh,
sleep in the self abidance. There is something they wrote about this. Suppose you are on the thinking mind and you go to sleep with a thought subsiding. First, it takes a dream sequence and then it's
mm,
kind of deep sleep and you're completely quiet and all that. Then that will be less of energy producing thing compared to going into the awareness, putting the thoughts away in the beginning, and then abiding in that awareness. That is the thing that really changes the energy level.
yeah. Because that
make,
just continues through the night.
yes,
Yeah. And then you wake up and you can
yes,
start there.
you are completely in it.
Yes.
That's why I may talk to so many people and but never compromised anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Completely.
know there have been talks where I've been compromised, and I do see that, and I
Yeah,
and I appreciate your always bringing me back.
yeah. People told me that too. Oh, you kind of when you talk about yourself, you hurt because it doesn't appeal to. Yeah, your ego is talking. I'm not the one who is doing that. Your ego,
Yes.
you feel like that. when
Right.
yeah,
Absolutely.
one of my friends who is an actor from India, and then when he came here, also I was talking to him, and he said, "Doctor Rao, you are very nice and all that, but sometimes when you say things, it hurts me." Look, but who is getting hurt? I asked him,
That's right.
and immediately he was able to understand. Yeah, that is the thing that we want to transcend, right? And then the moment he saw that all the hurt and everything is dropped,
Yeah.
and he was really realized himself at that moment. It may not stay there because the ego is so strong, it will come back.
Right.
This work I'm taking up now, I think you will not see me that much on the Wisdom app because I'm focusing on the LinkedIn now,
Yeah.
uh, because the LinkedIn is a lot of things are coming up. There's a tip of the day, wellness tip of the day for burnout. And then events will be planned. People will be just asked to come and join and all that. I will invite you for sure,
Please.
definitely. Uh,
Yeah. No,
uh,
I'm, like I've been much less
not
like.
not down on 23rd. I don't know the time at, but the 23rd one is coming up. And then
Okay.
I'll send you the invitation too, and so that you if you choose, you can join me.
Yeah, if I
But
can, I would
is
definitely love to.
it's a long-term discussion of why the burnout has become such a big deal and why physicians are really threatened, and then nation is threatened because
Yep, you just cut out once you come back in and finish telling me about that, and then then I can drop down. But yeah, so 3, 2, and yeah, you can complete.
so what it is they are forecasting that this will be a national emergency. The amount of number of physicians are burning out. Some of them are committing suicide. Most of them are leaving the profession and all that. It's really a destructive thing has become. But I kind of do things that doesn't make me feel like that. I'm kind of
Yeah,
exhilarated to work and all that. So I thought we should share some of it. If not spiritual quest, at least self inner resilience. How they can
yeah,
develop. That's what I'm focusing on. So that's a more like a citizen's duty. At the same time, sharing what we kind of perceived. you know so there's another thing is self-conscious about the health is not there with a lot of people, physicians too. They don't react after something went wrong, but they don't um, you know nourish wellness.
hmm,
See, they don't take care of the body, and even now, see, I do yoga, breathing, and all that, but also keep the. I'm beyond the mind and the thought, so that is meditation is not for me. Don't need it, but then people need it in the beginning, right? So they
yeah,
were different stages. The advanced meditation I do doesn't ask me to do any meditation at all. You know so it's like sleeping on the self and all that. That love sounds crazy for the bit, but I think you can understand what I'm talking about. Uh,
yeah,
yeah, so you are meditative all the time, and you fall out of it only when you are not in your real nature.
hmm,
Then you have to calm the mind and all of that. So
hmm,
I was going to do this focused work on the LinkedIn, so that, because there are a lot of professionals, physicians there, and they understand. I just feel wisdom and clubhouse taking a lot of my time, and I'm not able to move towards that goal. Now I identified that I want to dedicate myself towards that.
No, I am grateful for your journey, and I'm looking forward to joining.
Okay, Martin, I have to go to the meeting too. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Ciao. Well, thank you all for joining me. I have a meeting coming up in 10 minutes. I just actually opened up Zoom, so I'm going to be cutting out now. Once again, if you like the work that I'm doing here on Wisdom, please consider giving me a tip over on Venmo at @martinjohn_Garcia. Listen to the whole, there is Tao of the Day podcast on Spotify, so you can check out all the past episodes with some explanations of what you would hear on there. Here on Wisdom, you can go ahead and see just Tao of the Day, Tao of the Day, Tao of the Day, and it's all just a crapshoot. But if you go to my website, you can search on the Wisdom Talks page. You can search for certain people. Like if you want to hear Dr. Rao, you can put in the name of Rao, and all of the episodes that he has featured will be there. If you're looking for a certain number, like number 12 or number 56, you can just put in the number sign and then the number 56 or 12 or whatever number that you want. And you can search and find all of the conversations that I spoke about, number 56, and listen to those episodes specifically. Usually in the description, I will lay out who talked when in order so that you'll be able to kind of look through. You can fast forward to certain parts that you are looking to listen to. So yeah, thank you so much. I do talk a lot about recovery. That is why I am a recovery mentor. So I am Martin John. And if you're on a journey of recovering yourself, definitely reach out to me on Instagram or Twitter @Martin John. And until next time, keep recovering yourself.